The Gamma 7 distribution center hummed with activity as Maria Santos stepped into the building, the scent of machine oil and warm plastic instantly enveloping her. She took a deep breath, letting the familiar smells ground her in this bustling world of boxes and conveyor belts. The sounds of clattering crates and the low rumble of machinery filled the air, creating a cacophony that was both invigorating and exhausting. Maria had been a warehouse picker for several years, and while she had grown accustomed to the daily grind, a sense of monotony was beginning to creep into her routine. Each day felt like a repeat of the last, with little variation to break the cycle. She moved through the aisles with practiced efficiency, her hands deftly selecting crates filled with everything from electronics to household goods. Today, however, as she approached a crate that caught her eye, something felt different. It was older than the others, its wooden surface rough and faded. The label was partially torn, and a strange symbol was etched into the side. Maria hesitated, her fingers hovering over the crate's edge. There was an unusual energy about it, something that intrigued her. Yet, the familiar pull of efficiency urged her to stick to the routine. She glanced around, noting that no one was watching. With a quick decision, she grasped the crate and pulled it towards her. As she set the crate down and began to open it, a shiver of anticipation ran through her. She had no way of knowing that this seemingly mundane choice would set off a chain of events that would change the course of history. Inside the crate, she discovered an array of strange, shimmering objects, their surfaces glinting under the warehouse lights. They felt otherworldly, and for a moment, Maria was captivated, her mind racing with possibilities. Yet, a nagging doubt tugged at her. What if this was just a collection of junk? Should she report it or keep it to herself? Pushing aside the uncertainty, she decided to take a closer look. After all, it was her job to assess items for their potential, and this crate was certainly intriguing. Perhaps it would bring some excitement to her otherwise predictable day. As she rummaged through the crate, a voice broke her concentration. "Hey, Maria! You still picking the same old crates?" It was Jake, one of her colleagues, leaning against a nearby stack of boxes, a teasing grin on his face. "You know those are just going to the same boring place, right?" Maria rolled her eyes, but a small smile crept onto her lips. "You never know what you might find, Jake. This one has potential." The hint of a challenge in her voice prompted Jake to approach. He peered into the crate, his expression shifting from skepticism to curiosity as he caught sight of the shimmering objects. "What in the world is that?" he asked, his eyes widening. "Looks like something out of a sci-fi movie." Maria laughed lightly, the sound brightening the atmosphere around them. "Exactly. I think I've stumbled upon a treasure. You know, the kind that leads to adventure." Jake chuckled but shook his head. "Or trouble. You know how the management can be about unusual finds. They'll want to document everything." She shrugged, her excitement bubbling just beneath the surface. "Maybe it's time for a little adventure. Anyway, if you are enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Who knows what else we might uncover." As she continued to explore the crate, Maria felt a flicker of ambition ignite within her. Perhaps this was her chance to break free from the monotony. She felt a rush of adrenaline at the thought of discovering something extraordinary, something that could lead to a promotion or even a new adventure altogether. She quickly began to sort through the items, separating the strange artifacts from the more mundane warehouse items, her heart racing with each new discovery. With each object she uncovered, Maria's anticipation grew. There was a small, intricate device that resembled a compass but had no markings she recognized. Another item bore a crystalline structure that sparkled like diamonds, catching the light in mesmerizing ways. She felt a deep pull towards them, as if they were whispering secrets from another world. But as the initial thrill surged, the weight of responsibility hung over her like a storm cloud. What if these items were dangerous? What if they belonged to someone? The thought sent a chill down her spine. Maria glanced over her shoulder, still, no one was watching. It was just her in the strange crate, and for a brief moment, she felt like the sole keeper of a great secret. Deep down, she knew she should report her findings. But a part of her wanted to explore this new world she had stumbled into. She could feel the boundaries of her life as a warehouse picker slipping away, replaced by the unknown. The thrill of the discovery was intoxicating. As she gathered the last of the items, Maria felt her resolve strengthen. If she was going to take this leap into the unknown, she had to be careful. She quickly packed the objects back into the crate, ensuring they were secure. Just as she was about to close it, the low hum of one of the devices caught her attention. It vibrated gently against her fingertips, sending a wave of energy up her arm. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, Maria made her decision. She would take the crate to her supervisor, but she would also keep her findings a secret until she had a better understanding of what they were. This was her chance to break free from the routine, to become something more than just a picker at the Gamma 7 distribution center. With a determined heart and a mind racing with possibilities, Maria carefully wheeled the crate towards her supervisor's office, her mind buzzing with anticipation for what lay ahead. She felt an electric thrill course through her, sensing that her life was about to take a turn she had never imagined. As she approached the office, the weight of the crate felt lighter, and the air crackled with potential. In that moment, Maria understood, she was no longer just a warehouse picker. Today was the day everything changed, and she was ready to embrace whatever came next. As Maria opened the crate, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had stumbled into something extraordinary. Nestled among the mundane packaging materials were a series of strange artifacts that seemed to pulsate with an inner light. The air around her felt charged, almost electric, as she reached in to touch a small, metallic object that hummed softly at her fingertips. Its surface was smooth and cool, reflecting the overhead lights in a way that made her heart race with excitement. "Hey, what's that?" Jake's voice cut through her moment of wonder. He leaned over the edge of the crate, squinting into the shadows of the box. His eyes widened as he caught sight of the glowing items. "You might have uncovered something illegal. Should we even be looking at this?" Maria bit her lip, torn between the thrill of discovery and a nagging sense of caution. "I don't know, but it feels important, like it belongs to someone, or somewhere else." Jake shrugged, his brow furrowing. "You think we should tell the supervisor? This could be a security issue." Before she could respond, their supervisor, Mr. Lopez, entered the aisle, his clipboard in hand. He glanced at the two of them, then his gaze fell upon the crate. "What are you two up to?" His tone was skeptical, but curiosity flickered across his face. "Just examining this crate," Maria said, her voice wavering slightly. She tried to sound casual, but her heart raced at the thought of revealing the artifacts. "Nothing out of the ordinary." "Mr. Lopez stepped closer, his expression shifting from suspicion to intrigue as he peered into the crate. "Is that what I think it is?" He reached for the device, lifting it gingerly from the crate. The moment his fingers brushed against it, a low hum filled the air, resonating with an intensity that made the hairs on the back of Maria's neck stand on end. "What is it?" Jake whispered, his curiosity piqued despite the tension in the air. "I'm not sure," Mr. Lopez admitted, his brows knitting together. "But it looks like something we need to report. We can't just keep this to ourselves." Maria felt a surge of excitement mixed with anxiety. What if it's something special? What if it could lead to something bigger? She didn't want to lose this moment, this chance to explore something that might be extraordinary. Mr. Lopez hesitated, glancing back at her. "Bigger how?" "We have protocols for this. I can't just ignore them." "Maybe we can investigate it first," she suggested, the words tumbling out before she could stop herself. "What if it's a relic from an ancient civilization? We could discover something that changes everything." Jake raised an eyebrow, impressed yet skeptical. "You think this thing could change the course of history?" "Come on, Maria. It's probably just some old tech." But Maria's intuition told her otherwise. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Who knows what else we might uncover? She smiled at Jake, trying to lighten the mood. Mr. Lopez frowned. "This isn't a game. If it is of significance, we need to handle it properly. I'll call the authorities to come take a look." The words hit Maria like a cold wave. "No. Wait," she exclaimed, her voice rising. "Let's just look at it a bit longer. We might be able to figure it out ourselves. Maria, Mr. Lopez began, but she interrupted him. Just let me hold it for a moment longer, she pleaded. I'll return it right after. I promise. He sighed, the tension in the air palpable. Fine, but just for a moment. We need to proceed with caution. He handed her the device, and she felt its energy pulse through her fingers, igniting her curiosity even more. As she examined the artifact, the hum grew louder, almost melodic, resonating with something deep within her. She felt a connection to it, as if it was trying to communicate. What if this is a key, she whispered, half to herself. A key to something we don't understand yet. Or a key to trouble, Jake muttered, crossing his arms. Remember, we don't know where it came from. Maria nodded, but her heart raced with possibilities. She could feel her mundane life slipping away as she delved deeper into this mystery. The warehouse, the conveyor belts, the monotonous routine, it all felt so far away now. I think it's worth the risk to find out, she insisted, looking at both men. If we just report it without understanding what it is, we might lose the chance to learn something incredible. Mr. Lopez studied her for a moment, then relented. Okay, but we'll need to be discreet. No one else can know about this yet. Understood? Understood, Maria replied, her voice firm. A sense of victory washed over her, but it was mixed with a tinge of caution. They had to be careful, yet her heart sang at the thought of uncovering secrets that could change their world. As they continued to examine the artifact, Maria noticed small engravings on its surface. They were symbols alien, intricate, and beautiful. Each line seemed to hold a story waiting to be told. She could feel the weight of history pressing against her. Look at these markings, she said, pointing them out. They could be a clue to its origin. You're getting ahead of yourself, Jake cautioned. We have no idea what we're dealing with. We could be in way over our heads. But isn't that the point, she shot back, her eyes shining with determination. If we're going to be part of something bigger, we have to take risks. This could lead us to a discovery that changes everything. I admire your enthusiasm, but let's keep it grounded, Mr. Lopez said, his tone a mix of caution and encouragement. We need to approach this with a clear mind. With that, they set to work, carefully documenting their findings. Maria meticulously noted every detail, her excitement bubbling over with each new piece of information they uncovered. This was no longer just about her, it was about all of them. The more they worked together, the more a sense of camaraderie bloomed among the three. Hours passed, and the warehouse around them hummed with the usual activity. But for Maria, time felt suspended. The artifacts whispered secrets through their vibrations, and she felt as if she was standing on the precipice of something monumental. She couldn't help but wonder what lay ahead if they continued down this path. The atmosphere grew tense as they collaborated, the initial thrill of discovery morphing into a shared purpose. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something historic, a moment that would echo through time. Finally, they decided to take a break, stepping away from the glowing artifacts. Maria leaned against a nearby shelf, her mind racing with possibilities. Do you think we could actually find out where it came from? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Maybe, Jake replied thoughtfully. But it's going to take a lot of work, and we have to be cautious. There's no telling what we'll uncover. Exactly, Maria said, her heart pounding with anticipation. But isn't that why we're here? To explore the unknown? In that moment, she felt a strong sense of purpose wash over her. Whatever happened next, she was ready to embrace it. With her colleagues by her side, they would dive into the mystery of the artifact, and maybe, just maybe, they would change the course of history together. As the hours ticked away at Gamma 7 Distribution Center, the atmosphere shifted subtly. The usual hum of machinery blended with an undercurrent of speculation and excitement. Maria Santos found herself at the center of it all, her mind racing with thoughts of the artifact she had unearthed. Whispers began to circulate among her colleagues, igniting a fervor of intrigue and curiosity. What do you think it really is? A voice piped up from the far end of the aisle. It was Jake, one of the newer pickers, leaning against a stack of crates, his brow furrowed in contemplation. I heard it's a relic from an ancient civilization, replied Tara, a veteran picker with a penchant for conspiracy theories. She always had a flair for the dramatic. They say it can do things we can't even imagine, like teleport or read minds. Maria chuckled, catching the infectious enthusiasm. Teleporting? That would be something. But inside, her heart raced at the thought of the artifact's possibilities. There was an undeniable allure to the unknown, and it was drawing her and her colleagues closer together. As she maneuvered through the aisles, she could hear snippets of conversation, each person adding their own twist to the story. What if it's a weapon? One colleague suggested, his voice filled with a mix of fear and fascination. Or maybe it's a door to another world? Whatever it is, it's definitely not normal, Maria said, her own curiosity piqued. The mundane warehouse environment began to feel charged with energy, an electric current of potential. The artifact was no longer just an object, it was a catalyst for change, igniting a sense of purpose within her and her team. As her shift progressed, Maria found herself drawn to the break room more often, where conversations about the artifact thrived. Her colleagues gathered around the table, sharing theories and speculations. They became a small community, united by their collective wonder. I think we should dig deeper, she suggested one afternoon, a spark of determination in her voice. What if we research its symbols? There might be something we're missing. I'm in, Tara said, her eyes lighting up. I can help with that. We could even try to decipher it ourselves. Great idea. Jake chimed in, leaning forward with excitement. I'll look up anything I can find online, maybe there are forums or something talking about this kind of stuff. As they collaborated, Maria felt a warmth spreading through her chest. It was more than just curiosity, it was the dawning realization that they were all part of something larger. The artifact was not just an object, it was a bridge connecting them, transforming their daily routines into a shared adventure. Over the next few days, the trio delved into research. They gathered every scrap of information they could find, poring over books, articles, and old records. Maria felt invigorated, her mind racing with new ideas and possibilities. It was refreshing to step out of the monotony of her daily tasks and dive into a mystery that could redefine everything they knew. As they exchanged theories, Maria's bond with Tara and Jake deepened. They shared laughter and excitement, and with each passing moment, it became clear that this artifact was reshaping not only their understanding of the world but also their relationships with one another. One evening, as they sifted through another pile of notes, a breakthrough emerged. Look at this, Maria pointed at a symbol they had seen on the artifact, now matched with an ancient text. This means connection. It could signify that the artifact is meant to link different worlds. Wow, that's incredible! Tara exclaimed. What if it really is a bridge between civilizations? Jake nodded in agreement, his enthusiasm infectious. This could be the start of something monumental. Imagine if we could communicate with alien life forms. The thought sent a thrill down Maria's spine. The idea that they could be part of something so extraordinary felt surreal. However, as excitement bubbled, a flicker of doubt crossed her mind. But what if it's dangerous? What if we're opening a door that can't be closed? Caution is important, Jake acknowledged, his tone sobering. But we can't let fear hold us back from exploring this. We have to find out what we're dealing with. As they continued their research, the atmosphere in the warehouse shifted. The usual hum of machinery now felt like a background score to their unfolding adventure. Maria could sense the excitement in the air, a tangible energy that made even the busiest days feel alive with possibility. Word of their discovery spread among the staff. Colleagues gathered around to listen, and soon, the artifact became the focal point of conversations. Maria watched as her co-workers, once just faces in the crowd, transformed into allies in this shared quest for knowledge. Did you hear about the markings? One of the warehouse managers asked her one afternoon, his interest piqued. They say it could be related to some old legends. Maria smiled, feeling a sense of pride in their collective endeavor. It's not just a crate anymore, she replied. It could mean so much more. Her heart swelled with hope. Perhaps this was the moment that the warehouse would be remembered for. The moment when they all chose to reach for the unknown, rather than simply fulfill their daily duties. As the week progressed, Maria couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something significant. The artifact, with its mysterious symbols and potential to connect worlds, was like a thread weaving through the fabric of their lives, binding them together in ways they had never anticipated. "This is just the beginning," Maria said one day, glancing around at her friends, feeling the excitement bubble within her. "We're not just warehouse workers anymore. We're explorers, united in mystery and discovery." If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The journey ahead was uncertain, but Maria knew one thing for sure: they were destined to uncover the secrets of the artifact together, and whatever lay ahead would change everything. As Maria navigated the familiar aisles of the Gamma 7 distribution center, the atmosphere in the warehouse felt different. The usual hum of machinery and the rhythmic clatter of crates seemed to vibrate with a strange energy that day. It was as if the very air was charged with anticipation, a feeling that made the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end. The artifact she had chosen was not just another crate, it had become a focal point of curiosity and intrigue among her colleagues. After her last shift, whispers had spread like wildfire through the break room. "Did you see what Maria picked?" someone had exclaimed, their eyes wide with disbelief. "They say it could be a relic from another world." Each day brought new theories and speculation, feeding her curiosity and excitement. What had she stumbled upon? As she worked, Maria couldn't help but notice the changes around her. Equipment began to malfunction in odd ways. A conveyor belt would suddenly stop, only to whir back to life moments later, as if having a mind of its own. Lights flickered, casting shadows that danced across the high ceilings. Her co-worker, Jake, who usually handled the fragile electronics with care, had reported strange buzzing sounds emanating from the machines, which he attributed to the artifact's presence. "It's like something's alive," he said, shaking his head as he adjusted his glasses. Maria felt a knot of anxiety in her stomach. She could sense the tension rising among her team. The warehouse manager, a stern man named Mr. Collins, had begun to spend more time hovering around the artifact, his brow furrowed in deep thought. It was evident that the unusual occurrences were starting to worry him. "We need to get this under control," he had told the team during a meeting, his voice grave. "If this continues, we could face significant operational disruptions." Then came the day that changed everything. While Maria was sorting through her usual tasks, she caught sight of Tara, a fellow picker, standing near the artifact with a strange expression on her face. Tara had her hand outstretched, fingers hovering just above the crate. There was something almost hypnotic about her gaze, as if she were entranced by the soft glow emanating from within. "Tara, are you okay?" Maria called out, concern creeping into her voice. Tara turned slowly, her eyes wide. I saw something," she whispered, her voice trembling. "When I touched it, I saw flashes, images. There was a world, a war, and then," she faltered, shaking her head as if trying to dispel a haunting memory. The other workers paused, their chatter dying down as they turned to listen. "What do you mean, flashes?" Jake asked, stepping closer. "Like a vision?" "Exactly," Tara replied, her skin pale. "It felt so real, like I was there. There were beings, aliens fighting each other. I don't know how to explain it." A chill ran through the group as the weight of her words settled in. What was this artifact? Maria felt a sense of urgency, a pull to understand what they had uncovered. But with that urgency came a wave of fear. If the artifact could influence people's minds or visions, what other powers did it possess? Suddenly, the lights flickered again, casting an eerie glow over the warehouse. A heavy silence fell as everyone turned their attention to the artifact. It hummed softly, a low vibration that resonated deep within Maria's chest. "We need to figure this out," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "We can't ignore it any longer." Just as she finished speaking, Mr. Collins entered the area, his expression grim. "I need everyone in the conference room, now," he ordered, urgency lacing his tone. The workers exchanged anxious glances, but Maria felt a surge of determination. They would confront this mystery head-on. Gathered in the conference room, the atmosphere was tense. Mr. Collins stood at the front, arms crossed as he surveyed his team. We've been experiencing strange occurrences in the warehouse, he began, and I believe they're directly linked to the artifact Maria picked. We need to discuss the implications of this. What do you mean, implications? One of the warehouse assistants asked. Are we in danger? It's hard to say, Collins replied, rubbing the back of his neck. But we've had reports of similar artifacts across various sectors. Some have caused equipment failures, while others have been linked to more significant disturbances. We need to handle this carefully. Maria's heart raced. She felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. What if we studied it, she suggested, her voice gaining strength as she spoke. We could try to understand what it is and what it does before we make any decisions. Collins raised an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. And what if it's dangerous? It could also be a chance to learn something extraordinary, Maria countered, her passion igniting a spark in the room. This could be an opportunity for us to discover something that hasn't been seen before. We can't just throw it away because we're afraid. The room fell silent as her words hung in the air. Slowly, nods of agreement began to ripple through the team. Tara, still shaken but resolute, spoke up. I agree with Maria. We can't just ignore it. We need to know what we're dealing with. After what felt like an eternity, Mr. Collins sighed, a mixture of concern and resignation etched on his face. All right, he said reluctantly. We'll investigate further, but under strict supervision. I expect everyone to remain cautious. A wave of relief washed over Maria, but it was quickly replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. They had a chance to explore the unknown, to uncover secrets that could change everything. If you're all in, we can start by researching what we know about similar artifacts and how they behaved in the past, she proposed, her voice steady and confident. Let's do it, Jake said, a hint of excitement creeping into his voice. I can look for anything we've got in storage and see if there are reports about these kinds of artifacts. As they dispersed to gather information, Maria felt a sense of camaraderie building among her colleagues. They were no longer just co-workers, they were a team united by curiosity and determination. This was the spark of something much larger than any of them had anticipated. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The artifact had woven its way into their lives, challenging them to look beyond their mundane routines and step into a world of possibility. Whatever lay ahead, Maria knew one thing: they were ready to face it together. The atmosphere in the conference room was thick with tension as the team gathered to discuss the implications of the artifact. Maria could feel her heart pounding in her chest, amplified by the murmurs of concern rippling through her colleagues. Mr. Collins stood at the front, arms crossed and brow furrowed, his expression grave. We've encountered some strange occurrences in the warehouse, and I believe they are directly linked to the artifact that Maria picked, he began, his voice steady yet heavy. We need to discuss the implications of this. What do you mean, implications? Asked Jake, one of the newer workers, his voice wavering slightly. Are we in danger? It's hard to say, Collins replied, rubbing the back of his neck nervously. Similar artifacts have been reported across various sectors, and some have caused significant disturbances. We need to handle this carefully. Maria felt a rush of urgency wash over her. Her hands fidgeted in her lap as she glanced around the room. The fear in her colleagues' eyes mirrored her own. What if we studied it, she suggested, her voice growing stronger as she spoke. We could try to understand what it is and what it does before we make any decisions. Collins raised an eyebrow, skepticism evident on his face. And what if it's dangerous? It could also be a chance to learn something extraordinary, Maria countered, her passion igniting a spark in the room. This could be an opportunity for us to discover something that hasn't been seen before. We can't just throw it away because we're afraid. The room fell silent, her words hanging in the air. Slowly, nods of agreement began to ripple through the team. Tara, still visibly shaken from her earlier vision, spoke up, I agree with Maria. We can't just ignore it. We need to know what we're dealing with. After what felt like an eternity, Mr. Collins sighed, a mix of concern and resignation etched on his face. All right, he said reluctantly. We'll investigate further, but under strict supervision. I expect everyone to remain cautious." A wave of relief washed over Maria, but it quickly transformed into a renewed sense of purpose. They had a chance to explore the unknown, to uncover secrets that could change everything. "If you're all in, we can start by researching what we know about similar artifacts and how they behaved in the past," she proposed, her voice steady and confident. "Let's do it," Jake replied, a hint of excitement creeping into his voice. "I can look for anything we've got in storage and see if there are reports about these kinds of artifacts." As they dispersed to gather information, Maria felt a sense of camaraderie building among her colleagues. They were no longer just co-workers, they were a team united by curiosity and determination. There was something electric in the air, a shared anticipation that fueled their efforts to uncover the truth. Days passed as they delved into research, sifting through reports and old records. Maria found herself engrossed in the task, her mind racing with possibilities. She spent long hours researching, flipping through papers and discussing theories with her colleagues. Each new piece of information revealed not just the potential dangers but also the wonders that the artifact could hold. One afternoon, Maria and Tara were reviewing an old report in the break room, the smell of stale coffee lingering in the air. "Listen to this," Tara said, her eyes wide with excitement. "It says here that one similar artifact was discovered on a remote planet, and it was linked to advanced technology. Some believe it could even alter reality." "Alter reality?" Maria echoed, her mind spinning. "What if this artifact is more powerful than we thought?" As the days turned into weeks, the excitement continued to build. The team met often to discuss their findings, sharing ideas and hypotheses. However, amidst the growing curiosity, unease lingered. The humming sound from the artifact seemed to grow louder, almost as if it were responding to their investigations. Then, during one particularly tense meeting, something unexpected happened. As they gathered around the table, the lights flickered, and the room felt charged with energy. Maria looked at her colleagues, who exchanged worried glances. "What was that?" she asked, her heart racing. "I don't know," Jake replied, his expression tense. "But it's getting worse." Just then, Mr. Collins walked in, his face pale. "Everyone, we need to get back to the warehouse now," he ordered, urgency lacing his tone. They hurriedly followed him, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. As they entered the warehouse, the atmosphere shifted. The artifact sat ominously in its crate, a low hum vibrating through the air. Maria approached it cautiously, her heart racing. "What's happening?" she whispered, the sound of her voice barely audible over the hum. "We need to figure this out," Collins said, his brow furrowed in concentration. "If it's causing these disturbances, we have to understand its power before it escalates." Tara stepped forward, her eyes locked onto the artifact. "What if it's trying to communicate?" she said, her voice trembling. "What if it's warning us?" The thought sent a chill down Maria's spine. The idea that they were dealing with something beyond their understanding weighed heavily on her. "We have to find a way to interact with it," Maria said, her determination growing. "Maybe there's a way to unlock its secrets." "Are you sure that's a good idea?" Jake asked, concern etched on his face. "What if it reacts negatively?" Maria took a deep breath, her mind racing with possibilities. "We've come this far. We can't turn back now. We need to take the next step," she replied, her voice resolute. The group hesitated for a moment, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. But the lure of discovery was too strong. Slowly, they nodded in agreement, forming a circle around the crate. Maria felt a rush of adrenaline as they prepared to engage with the artifact. This was the moment they had been waiting for, the turning point that could change their lives forever. "Let's do this," she said, her voice steady. "Together." In that moment, they were no longer just warehouse workers, they were explorers on the brink of a new frontier. As they reached out to the artifact, Maria felt a surge of hope. Whatever lay ahead, they were ready to face it together. And if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The adventure was just beginning, and Maria knew it would be one for the history books. As the days unfolded in the warehouse, the atmosphere grew thick with anticipation and excitement. Maria, along with her team, had decided to keep the mysterious artifact they had unearthed and delve deeper into its secrets. This decision marked a pivotal moment not just for them but potentially for the entire Gamma 7 distribution center. The weight of their choice settled heavily on Maria's shoulders, a mix of responsibility and exhilaration. Gathering in the makeshift research area they had set up near the artifact, Maria felt the energy of her colleagues buzzing around her. They were no longer just workers picking crates, they were now explorers on the edge of discovery. "Okay, everyone, let's get to work," Maria said, her voice steady but filled with enthusiasm. "We need to understand what this artifact is and what it can do." Tara, one of the most curious members of the team, chimed in. "What if it's a key? A key to something we can't even imagine?" Her eyes sparkled with excitement. The thought sent shivers down Maria's spine, igniting a fire of curiosity within her. They had already uncovered old reports suggesting that similar artifacts had been linked to advanced civilizations and technologies. "If it's a key, then we need to find the lock," Maria replied, her mind racing with the possibilities. They spent countless hours poring over documents and studying the artifact. Each team member brought their unique skills to the table. Tara had a knack for research, Jake was tech-savvy, and Collins, their supervisor, provided guidance. As they worked, Maria felt a bond forming among them, transforming their previously mundane routines into something far more meaningful. One afternoon, while reviewing a particularly old report, Jake pointed to a diagram that depicted a similar artifact. "Look at this," he said, his finger tracing the lines of the illustration. It was discovered on a planet that was believed to be a hub for intergalactic travel. Some say it could even create portals. The room fell silent as they processed the implications of that statement. A portal? The very concept seemed far-fetched, yet the artifact before them hummed with an energy that felt undeniable. "What if we could actually connect to another world?" Tara breathed, her voice trembling with excitement. Maria's heart raced at the thought. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. She felt a surge of determination. "We need to find out if there's a way to activate it. There has to be a method for interacting with the artifact." Days turned into weeks as the team delved deeper into their research, driven by a mix of curiosity and a sense of impending discovery. However, the humming sound that had been a background presence grew louder and more erratic, almost as if the artifact was responding to their probing inquiries. Each time they gathered to discuss their findings, the atmosphere felt charged with energy, a palpable tension that seemed to echo the artifact's hum. Then, during one fateful meeting, the lights in the warehouse flickered ominously. The hum escalated, vibrating through the floor and into their very bones. "What is going on?" Maria exclaimed, her heart racing as she exchanged worried glances with her colleagues. "This can't be a coincidence." Collins looked pale, his usual composure shaken. "Everyone, we need to get back to the artifact. Now," he ordered, urgency threading his voice. They hurriedly made their way through the aisles, the sense of dread mingling with excitement. When they reached the artifact, its glow pulsed rhythmically, casting eerie shadows around the warehouse. Maria approached it cautiously, her heart pounding. "What's happening?" she whispered, barely audible over the deep, resonating hum. She could feel the energy in the air, thick and electric, like a storm about to break. Tara stepped forward, her expression a mix of awe and fear. "It's like it's alive," she murmured, reaching a tentative hand towards it. "What if it's trying to communicate with us?" The concept was both thrilling and terrifying. If the artifact was indeed sentient, what did it want? What would happen if they touched it? Maria felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration at the thought. "We should try to interact with it," she suggested, her voice firm. "We can't ignore this. Maybe we should just observe for now?" Jake interjected, a hint of worry in his tone. "We don't know what it's capable of." The group hesitated, their eyes darting between the artifact and one another, uncertainty flickering on their faces. "We've come this far," Maria insisted, her determination solidifying. "We can't back down now. We need to be brave." The group exchanged glances, the tension palpable, but Maria's conviction seemed to ignite something in them. Slowly, they nodded in agreement. "All right, Let's do this together, Maria said, her heart racing with a mix of fear and anticipation. As they formed a circle around the crate, she felt a surge of hope. This moment could change everything. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, reaching out toward the artifact. As her fingers brushed against its surface, a surge of energy coursed through her, a powerful rush that sent her mind spiraling. Images flashed before her eyes, visions of distant worlds, alien landscapes, and beings unlike anything she had ever encountered. Maria! Are you okay? Tara's voice broke through the haze, pulling her back to reality. She blinked, shaken but exhilarated. I saw something, she stammered, trying to grasp the enormity of what had just happened. It's more than just an object. It's a gateway. The team exchanged quick glances, the weight of their discovery settling on them like a thick fog. We need to figure out how to harness this power, Cullen said, his voice steady again. What happens next could change everything. As Maria stood there, the artifact pulsing beneath her fingertips, she realized that their journey was just beginning. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The future was uncertain, but together they would face whatever awaited them on the other side of that glowing threshold. The atmosphere in the Gamma 7 distribution center became thick with tension as Maria and her team stared at the artifact, its pulsing glow illuminating their faces. The humming sound that had once been a subtle background noise now resonated with an intensity that vibrated through their bodies. This was no longer just an object, they were on the precipice of something extraordinary. Are we really doing this? Jake asked, his voice trembling slightly. He shifted his weight from one foot to another, clearly caught between excitement and fear. The air felt charged, as if the very fabric of reality was about to unravel. Yes. We need to see if we can activate it, Maria replied, her heart racing with a mix of anticipation and dread. We can't ignore what this might lead to. As she stepped closer, she could feel the warmth radiating from the artifact, beckoning her forward. It was a siren call, pulling her into its mystery. She reached out a tentative hand, feeling the cold metal against her fingertips. A jolt of energy surged through her, sending her mind spiraling into a whirlpool of images, sounds, and sensations. Maria! Tara's voice cut through the haze, snapping her back to reality. What did you see? I don't know, Maria stammered, breathless. It was like a vision. Worlds, different beings, they were all connected. This artifact isn't just a relic, it's a gateway. The team exchanged bewildered glances, the weight of her words sinking in. Their mundane lives had just been upended by the discovery of something that could redefine existence as they knew it. If it's a gateway, then we need to find out how to use it, Collins asserted, his voice steadying as he regained composure. We can't let this slip away. Right, Maria nodded, her determination hardening. But we have to be careful. We don't know what could happen if we trigger it without understanding its purpose. With a collective breath, they formed a circle around the artifact, their hands hovering just above its surface. Maria felt a sense of unity among them. This was no longer just her quest, they were all in this together. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Okay, on 3, Maria instructed, her voice steady. 1, 2, 3. They all pressed their hands against the artifact at once. The moment their skin met its cool surface, a shockwave of energy pulsed through the warehouse. The lights flickered wildly, and a deep humming sound escalated into a deafening roar. Maria felt her heart race in sync with the artifact, the chaos around her fading as she focused on the energy flowing through her. Suddenly, the room erupted in blinding light. As the brightness enveloped them, Maria felt herself being pulled into a vortex of swirling colors. She gasped as her surroundings morphed into a kaleidoscope of vibrant hues. She looked back at her team, their faces a mix of awe and terror. Hold on, she shouted as they were swept into the unknown. In an instant, they found themselves standing in a vast expanse that felt foreign yet familiar. The ground beneath their feet shimmered like liquid glass, reflecting the colors of an alien sky filled with swirling clouds of indigo and magenta. Strange structures, resembling both organic and mechanical forms, floated in the distance, pulsating with the same rhythm as the artifact. What just happened? Jake whispered, his eyes wide with wonder. I think we activated it, Maria replied, her voice barely more than a whisper. We're somewhere else. This is incredible. But as excitement flooded through her, a wave of uncertainty crashed over her. They were in a place that defied their understanding of physics and reality. What if they couldn't return? What if they were trapped in this alien dimension forever? Suddenly, a series of low, melodic sounds echoed around them. The team turned to see a group of beings approaching, their forms ethereal and shimmering, almost as if they were made of light. They had elongated bodies, with delicate features that seemed to shift and change as they moved. Maria's breath caught in her throat. They were beautiful and terrifying all at once. Stay close, she cautioned her team, instinctively stepping in front of them as the beings drew nearer. One of the aliens stepped forward, its face radiating an aura of curiosity. It extended a slender arm, and a warm wave washed over Maria. It felt inviting, safe, and she instinctively reached out to connect. Hello, she said, her voice trembling. We come in peace. The alien's eyes sparkled with recognition, and it raised its other arm, forming intricate patterns in the air. Maria felt the energy shift again, and suddenly, she understood. It's trying to communicate. The alien's movements became more fluid, and Maria felt a rush of understanding. This was a form of language, one that transcended words. The patterns it drew in the air began to illuminate, forming images of their home world, of conflicts, of desperation. They need our help, Maria gasped, turning to her team. They're in a state of war. This artifact, it connects us, it can help them find peace. But how? Tara asked, glancing nervously at the approaching aliens. Maria swallowed hard, her heart pounding. We need to find a way to serve as mediators. If we can bridge the gap between them, we could change everything. The gravity of their situation dawned on her. They had inadvertently become ambassadors of peace in an intergalactic conflict. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. Okay, let's figure this out together, Collins stated, nodding resolutely. We'll need to work as a team, combining what we know with what they need. Maria glanced back at the aliens, who now stood silently, watching with their mesmerizing eyes. We need to show them that we can help, she said, newfound determination filling her voice. Let's find a way to communicate our intentions. As they began to strategize, Maria felt a sense of purpose wash over her. This was no longer just about her, it was about the fate of two worlds. They had the chance to make history, to be the catalyst for change. Let's do this, Maria declared, her heart racing with excitement. Together, we can create a future where peace prevails. With that, they stepped forward, ready to embrace the challenges that lay ahead, fueled by the hope of a brighter tomorrow. As the vibrant hues of the alien realm swirled around them, Maria felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility settle on her shoulders. The ethereal beings, with their shimmering, almost translucent forms, exuded an aura of both peace and desperation. It was clear to Maria that they had ventured into a crucial moment in history, one that transcended their own mundane lives in the Gamma 7 distribution center. Look at them, Maria said, her voice a mix of awe and determination. They're not just here by chance. They need us. The rest of her team stood in a semicircle behind her, their eyes fixed on the alien figures, who were now drawing closer. Each step the aliens took seemed to resonate with the very air around them, and Maria felt the pulsating energy of the artifact still vibrating in her hands. They're searching for something, Tara whispered, her eyebrows knitted in concern. What if they're hostile? Maria shook her head, her instincts guiding her. No, I don't think they are. They seem curious, not aggressive. We just need to understand what they want. The lead alien, adorned with intricate patterns that flowed across its skin like liquid light, stepped forward. It raised a slender arm, and Maria felt the familiar warmth wash over her once more. This time, however, it was accompanied by an influx of images and emotions that crashed over her like a wave. She began to sense their pain, their longing for peace and reconciliation amidst the chaos of their world. Can you feel that? She asked her team, her voice trembling. They're in the midst of a conflict. This artifact, it must be the key to uniting their factions. Are you sure? Jake asked, skepticism lacing his tone. We can't just assume we know what they want. No, listen. Maria insisted, her heart racing. They're showing me visions of war, of destruction. They believe this artifact can help them find a way to communicate and heal their divisions. As she spoke, the lead alien continued to draw patterns in the air, each movement accompanied by melodic sounds that resonated deeply within Maria. The rhythm of the alien language began to sync with her heartbeat, and she found herself stepping forward, compelled to connect. Let me try to communicate, Maria declared, her voice steady. She took a deep breath and raised her own hand, mimicking the alien's gestures. We want to help you. We can be a bridge between your worlds. The alien's eyes glimmered with what appeared to be hope. The intricate patterns it created began to shift, morphing into images of two distinct groups, their features sharp and defined, a stark contrast to the unity Maria felt in this moment. She could sense the tension between the factions, the deep-seated mistrust that had led to their current plight. We need to find a way to facilitate a dialogue, Maria said, glancing back at her team. If we can mediate between them, we might be able to prevent further conflict. They're desperate for a resolution. Okay, but how do we do that? Collins chimed in, uncertainty clouding his expression. Maria's mind raced as she considered their options. We need to understand their culture, their history. Maybe we can use the artifact to translate their thoughts into something we can comprehend. The lead alien's glowing patterns began to pulse more rapidly, and Maria felt a rush of understanding. It's showing us their history. Look! The images began to take shape, scenes of their once thriving world, filled with lush landscapes and harmonious societies, juxtaposed against the harsh reality of their present. Wars raged, cities lay in ruins, and families were torn apart. In that moment, Maria realized that they were witnessing the legacy of division, and it was their responsibility to help rewrite that narrative. Let's gather information about their factions, Maria suggested, her voice growing more confident. If we can learn their grievances and aspirations, we can present them to each side. We can act as intermediaries. As her team nodded in agreement, the lead alien moved closer, its energy shifting to match Maria's growing determination. The alien reached out with its free hand, enveloping Maria's in a gentle grip. A surge of warmth coursed through her, filling her with both courage and clarity. Together, Maria whispered, her heart pounding with purpose. We can change everything. The alien responded with a series of melodic tones, resonating in harmony with the rhythmic patterns still dancing in the air. Maria felt her spirit soar as the alien's energy intertwined with her own, forming an invisible bond that transcended language. It was a promise, a shared commitment to forge a path toward peace. Let's document everything, Tara proposed, reaching for her notepad. We need to compile everything we learned to present a coherent vision to both sides. Great idea, Maria replied, energized by her team's support. We'll map out their histories, grievances, and hopes. We need to understand how they can coexist. As they began to gather information, Maria felt a surge of hope. They were no longer just a group of warehouse pickers, they had become ambassadors of peace, tasked with bridging the gap between two worlds. It was exhilarating, and she wanted to share this experience with everyone. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hours passed as they worked together to understand the intricacies of the alien culture. The lead alien guided them through the visual narratives, revealing deeper layers of understanding and emotion. Maria was entranced by the beauty of their world and the intensity of their struggles. Look at this, Jake exclaimed, pointing to a particularly vivid image of a great ceremony that once united their people. This could be a foundation for something new, a way to honor their past while moving forward. Maria nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. We can propose a gathering, a celebration of their shared history. They can invite their factions to come together, to remember who they once were. That's brilliant! Collins chimed in, his eyes lighting up. We could use the artifact to facilitate communication during the event. It could help them express their thoughts and feelings directly. Maria felt a renewed sense of purpose swell within her. Yes. We can help them heal by reminding them of their shared humanity, or whatever it is that binds their species together. With the plan forming, Maria turned to the lead alien, who watched them with an expression that seemed to convey understanding. We need to show them that there is a way forward, that they don't have to remain divided. The alien nodded, its body shimmering with energy. Maria felt a connection deepen, and she knew they were on the brink of something monumental. As they finalized their plans, Maria couldn't help but feel a sense of pride wash over her. This was more than just an adventure, it was a chance to change the course of history. They had chosen to stand up for something greater than themselves, and as she looked around at her team, she knew they were ready to embrace the challenge. "Let's get to work," she declared, her voice steadfast. "Together, we can create a future where peace prevails." With that, they set out to prepare for the monumental task ahead, driven by the hope of a brighter tomorrow, knowing they were about to embark on a journey that would forever alter the fate of two worlds. As negotiations began to take shape, Maria felt a sense of responsibility settle over her like a heavy cloak. Surrounded by her warehouse colleagues and the alien beings who had so unexpectedly burst into their lives, she understood the gravity of the moment. The air buzzed with anticipation, and the warehouse, once a mundane space for sorting crates, had transformed into a stage for something monumental. "Okay, everyone," Maria said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. "We need to start by understanding each side's perspective. What do the aliens want? And what does our team need to ensure safety and cooperation?" The lead alien, a tall being with shimmering skin that changed colors in the light, stepped forward. "We seek harmony. Our factions have been at war for generations, and this artifact you possess is key to our peace. But we cannot proceed without understanding your customs and language." Maria nodded, feeling the weight of their shared struggle. "We can help with that. Communication is fundamental. Let's create a platform where both sides can express their thoughts and feelings. We have to ensure that everyone is heard." Her colleagues exchanged glances, nodding in agreement. They were no longer just workers in a warehouse, they had become peacemakers, standing at the crossroads of two worlds. "Let's gather information about their factions," Maria suggested, her voice growing more confident. "If we can learn their grievances and aspirations, we can present them to each side. We can act as intermediaries." As her team nodded in agreement, the lead alien moved closer, its energy shifting to match Maria's growing determination. The alien reached out with its free hand, enveloping Maria's in a gentle grip. A surge of warmth coursed through her, filling her with both courage and clarity. Together, Maria whispered, her heart pounding with purpose. "We can change everything." The alien responded with a series of melodic tones, resonating in harmony with the rhythmic patterns still dancing in the air. Maria felt her spirit soar as the alien's energy intertwined with her own, forming an invisible bond that transcended language. It was a promise, a shared commitment to forge a path toward peace. "Let's document everything," Tara proposed, reaching for her notepad. "We need to compile everything we learned to present a coherent vision to both sides." "Great idea," Maria replied, energized by her team's support. "We'll map out their histories, grievances, and hopes. We need to understand how they can coexist." As they began to gather information, Maria felt a surge of hope. They were no longer just a group of warehouse pickers, they had become ambassadors of peace, tasked with bridging the gap between two worlds. It was exhilarating, and she wanted to share this experience with everyone. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hours passed as they worked together to understand the intricacies of the alien culture. The lead alien guided them through the visual narratives, revealing deeper layers of understanding and emotion. Maria was entranced by the beauty of their world and the intensity of their struggles. "Look at this," Jake exclaimed, pointing to a particularly vivid image of a great ceremony that once united their people. "This could be a foundation for something new, a way to honor their past while moving forward." Maria nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "We can propose a gathering, a celebration of their shared history. They can invite their factions to come together, to remember who they once were." "That's brilliant!" Collins chimed in, his eyes lighting up. "We could use the artifact to facilitate communication during the event. It could help them express their thoughts and feelings directly." Maria felt a renewed sense of purpose swell within her. Yes. We can help them heal by reminding them of their shared humanity, or whatever it is that binds their species together. With the plan forming, Maria turned to the lead alien, who watched them with an expression that seemed to convey understanding. We need to show them that there is a way forward, that they don't have to remain divided. The alien nodded, its body shimmering with energy. Maria felt a connection deepen, and she knew they were on the brink of something monumental. As they finalized their plans, Maria couldn't help but feel a sense of pride wash over her. This was more than just an adventure, it was a chance to change the course of history. They had chosen to stand up for something greater than themselves, and as she looked around at her team, she knew they were ready to embrace the challenge. "Let's get to work," she declared, her voice steadfast. "Together, we can create a future where peace prevails." With that, they set out to prepare for the monumental task ahead, driven by the hope of a brighter tomorrow, knowing they were about to embark on a journey that would forever alter the fate of two worlds. As the days passed, the preparations intensified. The warehouse buzzed with a new energy, filled with the sounds of collaboration. They designed banners, organized the space to accommodate both humans and aliens, and practiced communication techniques to facilitate understanding. It was a whirlwind of activity, but it felt purposeful, energizing. Maria often found herself in deep discussions with the lead alien, whose name she learned was Lyrak. They shared stories of their respective cultures, finding common ground in their values and desires for peace. Lyrak's voice, a rich blend of harmonics, resonated with wisdom that Maria found deeply comforting. "Your world is filled with beauty and chaos," Lyrak remarked one day, observing the humans rushing about. "It mirrors the struggles we face. Perhaps that is why we were drawn to this artifact together." Maria smiled, feeling the resonance of truth in Lyrak's words. "We all seek connection, don't we? And we can learn so much from one another." As the date of the gathering approached, a palpable tension hung in the air. Maria understood that while they were fostering hope, the fragile alliance between the alien factions could easily dissolve if they failed to navigate their negotiations carefully. She reminded her team to stay focused, to believe in their mission. The day of the event dawned bright and clear. The warehouse, transformed into a vibrant meeting space, was decorated with symbols from both cultures. Humans and aliens alike arrived cautiously, their eyes wide with curiosity and uncertainty. The atmosphere crackled with excitement, but beneath it lay an undercurrent of fear. "Remember, we're here to facilitate understanding," Maria whispered to her team. "Let's make sure everyone feels welcome and valued." As the gathering commenced, Maria took a deep breath, her heart racing. She welcomed the crowd, her voice steady and inviting. "Today, we celebrate the potential for peace. We are here to listen, to learn, and to connect." The crowd responded with a mix of applause and murmurs, a sign that her words resonated. Maria stepped aside to allow Lyrak to address the assembly. The alien's melodic tones washed over the audience, weaving a tapestry of hope and shared dreams. As Lyrak spoke, Maria noticed tension easing among the attendees. The barriers that had divided them began to crumble, revealing glimpses of empathy and understanding. It was a remarkable sight, and she felt a swell of pride for everyone involved. They moved into smaller group discussions, where individuals could share their stories and fears. Maria facilitated a group that included both humans and aliens, guiding the conversation with care. She watched as they opened up to one another, sharing their dreams for a future free from conflict. "Why do we fight?" a human named Kelly asked, her voice trembling. "Isn't it time we find commonality instead of division?" "I believe we fear what we do not understand," Lyrak responded, its shimmering skin glowing softly in the light. "But sharing our stories can bridge those gaps." As the discussions unfolded, laughter and tears mingled in the air, creating a rich tapestry of emotions. Maria felt a sense of unity envelop the room, a shared understanding weaving through the crowd. It was exhilarating, and she wanted to capture this moment forever. Hours slipped by as conversations deepened, and Maria found herself filled with a sense of purpose. The gathering was more than a simple event, it was the beginning of something extraordinary. If you're loving this story, don't forget to leave a like to help the channel grow. By the end of the day, something remarkable had been achieved. The factions agreed to further dialogue, a commitment to work together towards peace. As the attendees departed, Maria felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her. She had not only facilitated understanding but had fostered hope that echoed beyond the walls of their warehouse. As she watched Lyrac interact with her team, laughter and shared stories filling the air, Maria reflected on how far they had come. From the moment she had picked that unusual crate, her life had taken a turn that no one could have predicted, and she was grateful for every moment of uncertainty that had led her here. In the weeks that followed, the warehouse became a hub of collaboration between races, with humans and aliens working side by side to build a brighter future. Maria and her team had not only changed the narrative for their own lives but had become part of a larger story, one that transcended the stars. As Maria looked around at her colleagues, she knew they had forged bonds that would last a lifetime. They were no longer just pickers in a warehouse, they were part of a movement that had the potential to change the galaxy. And it all stemmed from the brave choice made on that fateful day when she had chosen the wrong crate. It was a choice that had ultimately set them all on a path to a future filled with possibility, where connections could flourish and peace was not just a dream but a reality waiting to be embraced. The atmosphere inside the transformed warehouse was electric with anticipation. Maria stood at the forefront, her heart beating rapidly as she glanced around at her colleagues, both human and alien, assembled for this historic event. This was the day they would chart a new course not just for themselves, but for intergalactic relations. The stakes had never been higher, and Maria felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her shoulders. "Are we ready for this?" one of her teammates, Jake, asked nervously, adjusting his collar as he eyed the gathering crowd. Maria could sense his apprehension mirrored in many of their faces. The warehouse, once a mundane place of labor, had been transformed into a vibrant meeting space adorned with banners and symbols from both cultures. The scent of freshly painted walls mixed with the earthy aroma of the imported alien flora that decorated the room, creating a unique atmosphere filled with hope. "Absolutely," Maria replied, her voice steady despite her own fluttering nerves. "We've come too far to turn back now. Today is about connection, understanding, and forging a path to peace." She knew the importance of this gathering. It was a culmination of their efforts, their struggles, their triumphs. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to leave a like to help the channel grow. As the crowd began to settle, Maria took a deep breath and stepped up to the makeshift podium. The room quieted, and she felt every eye on her. "Welcome, everyone. Today, we're here to celebrate our differences and to find common ground. We all know the challenges we face, but together, we can build a future that honors both our peoples." Her words were met with a mix of applause and cautious murmurs. She could see both excitement and skepticism in the faces before her. As her gaze swept the audience, she noticed Lyrac, the alien representative, standing tall beside her. Its shimmering, iridescent skin reflected the light, making it look almost ethereal. Maria gestured for Lyrac to take the stage, feeling a wave of support for her friend and ally. Lyrac's voice, melodic and soothing, filled the room. "Today marks a turning point. The artifact that brought us together is not just a relic, it is a symbol of hope. We stand on the brink of something extraordinary." As Lyrac spoke, Maria watched the crowd shift, the tension easing as their minds opened to the possibilities of cooperation. They moved into smaller groups for discussions that allowed voices to be heard. Maria facilitated one such group, where humans and aliens shared stories of their lives, their cultures, and their aspirations. Each story was a thread woven into a larger tapestry of understanding. Maria listened intently, feeling the warmth of camaraderie blossom around her. "Why do we continue to fight?" a human named Kelly asked, her voice filled with emotion. "Isn't it time we found a way to coexist?" The question hung in the air, heavy with meaning. "I believe it's fear that drives us," Lyrac responded, its luminous eyes reflecting understanding. "Fear of the unknown, fear of what we do not understand. But by sharing our stories, we can dispel that fear." Maria felt a surge of hope at Lyrac's words. The atmosphere was shifting, and it was exhilarating to witness. Each person in the room had a role to play, and each story shared was a step toward peace. Hours passed, filled with laughter, tears, and heartfelt exchanges. If you're loving this story, don't forget to share it with your friends, so they can join our journey. As the sun began to set outside, casting golden rays through the warehouse windows, Maria could feel the momentum building. The discussions had revealed a profound truth: they were not so different after all. They all sought happiness, safety, and a chance to thrive. Finally, as the day drew to a close, Maria gathered everyone back for a final address. Today, we have forged connections that will last a lifetime. We are not just individuals from different worlds, we are partners in building a brighter future. Let's commit to continuing these discussions, to exploring new avenues of collaboration, and to ensuring that the lessons we've learned today resonate throughout the cosmos. The room erupted in applause, a unified response that echoed off the walls, filling Maria with an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. She looked at her colleagues and friends, and their faces shone with hope. They had achieved something incredible, and she was proud to have been part of it. In the weeks that followed, the warehouse became a hub of collaboration. Humans and aliens worked side by side, developing technology that combined their strengths and exploring the depths of their shared knowledge. Maria found herself at the center of this exciting new era, leading teams that worked on groundbreaking projects that would change the galaxy. Every day, she woke with a renewed sense of purpose. The pickers, once confined to their crates and routines, now engaged in meaningful work that transcended their previous limitations. As Maria walked through the warehouse, the sounds of laughter and conversation filled her ears, a sweet melody that replaced the monotony of her past. One afternoon, while reviewing project updates, Maria received a message from Lyrak. It requested a meeting to discuss a potential joint venture that could benefit both their species. Maria's heart raced at the thought of their collaboration blossoming further. This was the promise of a future where boundaries dissolved and possibilities expanded. "Can you believe how far we've come?" Jake remarked one day as they prepared for the upcoming meeting. "From picking crates to leading intergalactic initiatives. It's more than I ever dreamed possible," Maria replied, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. She felt a surge of gratitude for that fateful day when she had chosen the wrong crate, as it had led her to a life she never imagined. As they gathered for the meeting, Maria looked around the room at her team and Lyrak. Their partnership was a testament to the power of understanding, compassion, and shared dreams. In that moment, she realized that the choices they made, both big and small, could alter the very fabric of their existence. The meeting began, and ideas flowed freely across the table. Lyrak shared insights about alien technology, while Maria presented innovative human approaches to problem solving. Together, they crafted plans that would pave the way for a brighter future, inspiring hope and collaboration among their peoples. As the meeting concluded, Maria felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her. They had turned the tides on fear and mistrust, and now, they were creating a legacy of unity. It was a reminder of the profound impact that a single choice could have, a choice that had led to the opening of a whole new universe of possibilities. With every project they undertook, with every bond they forged, Maria knew that they were not just building a better future for themselves but for generations to come. The warehouse had become more than a workplace, it was a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of choice, and a reminder that when humanity and compassion unite, extraordinary things can happen. As the warehouse settled into a new rhythm, Maria found herself reflecting on the whirlwind of events that had led her to this extraordinary moment. The once monotonous life of a warehouse picker had transformed into a dynamic landscape of collaboration between humans and aliens. The air was thick with a sense of accomplishment, as if the very walls of the Gamma 7 distribution center were infused with the energy of hope and possibility. Maria stood by the large windows, watching the sunset cast a warm glow over the bustling activity outside. The sounds of laughter and conversation filled the air, echoing off the metal beams and creating a symphony of shared purpose. Her mind wandered back to that fateful day when she chose the unusual crate, a decision that had set everything in motion. If she hadn't hesitated, if she hadn't felt that strange pull toward the unknown, none of this would have happened. "Hey, Maria!" Jake called out, breaking her reverie. He approached with a grin, his excitement palpable. "We're about to start the celebration. You coming?" "Absolutely," Maria replied, her heart racing with anticipation. She followed Jake through the warehouse, where everyone had gathered to honor their achievements. The atmosphere was electric, filled with camaraderie and a shared sense of purpose. It was a stark contrast to the isolated days of picking crates and scanning barcodes. As Maria joined her colleagues, she noticed Lyrak standing off to the side, observing the festivities with a hint of curiosity. The alien had played a significant role in bridging the gap between their worlds, and Maria felt a surge of gratitude for their partnership. She approached Lyrak, who looked up with a warm smile that reflected a newfound understanding. "Quite a celebration, isn't it?" Lyrak commented, their voice melodic and soothing. "I never imagined I would witness such unity." "Neither did I," Maria admitted, her eyes sparkling. "It's incredible how far we've come. I'm grateful for your support and guidance." Lyrak nodded, their gaze scanning the room filled with mingling species. "It is still a learning process for us both. But today feels like a beginning." As the festivities kicked off, Maria took a moment to survey the crowd. Humans and aliens danced together, shared stories, and laughed in a way that felt profoundly human. It didn't seem to matter anymore that they hailed from different worlds. What mattered was the connection they had forged through understanding and collaboration. The celebration included speeches, and Maria felt a sense of pride as her name was called. She stepped up to the makeshift stage, the cheers of her colleagues ringing in her ears. "Thank you, everyone. It's hard to believe how much has changed since that day I picked the wrong crate. I still remember the fear and excitement when we opened it. But look at us now. We've built bridges where there once were walls." Her voice resonated with sincerity, and she could see the faces of her colleagues reflecting the same joy and hope she felt. "Together, we've shown that compassion can transcend species, and that our differences are not barriers but strengths. Let's continue this journey, exploring new horizons and creating a future where our worlds are intertwined." As she spoke, Maria felt a wave of emotion wash over her, a mixture of gratitude for the present and hope for the future. If you're enjoying this journey as much as I am, don't forget to share our story and inspire others to seek connection beyond their own boundaries. The room erupted into applause, and Maria's heart swelled with pride. She stepped down from the stage, her colleagues surrounding her with hugs and cheers. It was in that moment she truly understood the magnitude of what they had accomplished together. As the night wore on, Maria found herself engaging in deep conversations with various aliens, learning about their cultures and sharing her own experiences. Each encounter brought a new layer to her understanding of what it meant to be part of a diverse community. The warehouse had transformed from a mere workplace into a vibrant ecosystem where ideas flourished. During a quieter moment, Maria pulled Jake aside. "Can you believe how far we've come? From mundane tasks to this incredible celebration." Jake chuckled, shaking his head in disbelief. "No way. I mean, who would have thought a simple choice could lead to all of this? It's like we're living in a sci-fi movie." "Yeah," Maria agreed, a smile lighting up her face. "And we're the main characters. I never imagined my life would take such a turn. It's like we've opened a door to a whole new world." Just then, Lyrak approached, their expression serious yet hopeful. "Maria, I wanted to express my gratitude. Your bravery and willingness to explore the unknown have not only changed your life but have also opened doors for countless others." "Thank you, Lyrak. Your friendship and guidance have made this journey even more special," Maria replied, feeling a deep connection to the alien. As the celebration continued, Maria felt a sense of purpose swell within her. Every conversation, every laugh shared, and every connection forged was a testament to the impact they had made together. They were not just a group of individuals from different worlds, they were a family, bound by shared experiences and dreams. Later that evening, as the festivities began to wind down, Maria gathered her closest friends for a moment of reflection. "Can you believe we've not only changed our lives but also the future of intergalactic relations? We've created a legacy." "Absolutely," Jake replied, clinking his glass with hers. "And it all started with a simple choice, one that seemed insignificant at the time." "Yeah, a choice that changed everything," Maria said, her heart swelling with pride and hope for the future. "Let's keep making choices that lead to connection and understanding. Who knows what other doors we can open?" As the stars twinkled above the warehouse, Maria felt a sense of calm and excitement. They had embarked on a journey that was just the beginning. The possibilities ahead were endless, and she was ready to embrace them all. Reflecting on her extraordinary journey, she knew that together, they could shape the future, one choice at a time. In that moment, she understood the profound truth of their experience, that the choices they made today would echo through the cosmos, inspiring future generations to seek connection and embrace the beauty of diversity. Comment what your favorite moment was and turn on notifications. Maria called out, her voice ringing with enthusiasm. Let's keep this journey going together. The crowd erupted into cheers, and Maria beamed with joy, ready to face whatever adventures lay ahead.